Welcome back to Instant Boxing. This week we talk about the best thing in boxing that nobody's even talking about, and we preview this week's fights. Yeah. Welcome back to Instant Boxing. I'm your host, Albert Baker. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at @TheAlbertBaker and at Instant Boxing on Instagram at Instant Boxing. Smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, comment down below, talk some smack. I'll talk some smack back to you. I comment back to everybody that interacts with the channel. We love that here. If you want to talk some smack, we'll argue about it. I mean, it's boxing. Come on, nobody agrees on anything in boxing, right?
What do you mean you don't agree with me?
So this week, it's the best thing in boxing that nobody's even talking about. It's really a shame too, because this could potentially be building the biggest opponent that Anthony Joshua has.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Bomb Squad! Yeah! Welcome to Alabama!
No, not that opponent, although that is a big fight. But what could be building here is a potential huge mega match between Oleksander Usyk, who just beat Maris Bradis in the World Boxing Super Series tournament for the cruiserweight division, who looks to be the favorite to win the tournament overall. This could be a potential builder for a future
The way of the future.
heavyweight star. Well, why isn't it? What is this blaspheme that you're talking, Albert? There's no US television for said tournament. Oleksander Usyk just had himself a hell of a fight against Maris Bradis. Won it by majority decision. It was a good fight. Usyk definitely deserved to win, but this was a high quality fight fought at a very high level. These were two elite level fighters in the ring at the cruiserweight division, which is kind of like the AAA or the minor leagues for the heavyweight division.
Welcome to the fucking show.
This whole Super Series should be promoted as being sort of a tryout to being the next heavyweight star. We already know that Anthony Joshua is the king or the biggest star in the division, followed closely by Deontay Wilder in the States. And Deontay Wilder's doing a pretty good job of making people dislike him, because whether you're the hero or the villain, if people are talking about you, that's publicity, and you're building yourself into a star. Oleksander Usyk is doing a fine job in this tournament. However, no one's talking about him except for the extreme diehards. This, to me, the World Boxing Super Series is the biggest failure for a future investment. The reason for not having US television still is beyond me. Whether or not they thought the investment or the promotion behind it was worthy, or if they couldn't find a network to televise it because the networks didn't want to put up the money, they are losing out on a potential future star. Now, the World Boxing Super Series was announced and promoted by Ring Star's Richard Schaeffer. Richard Schaeffer doesn't necessarily own all the fighters in the tournament. So would it behoove him to not make these guys huge stars, but be able to say, well, I put on this big tournament, everybody came, and we declared a winner, and the best in the division. So he's checking the boxes, he's putting the feather in his cap, and he's keeping his competitors from being able to have that marketable star with leveraging power in the future. Smart move by Schaeffer. Asshole move.
You're the asshole on TV.
But it's a smart move. This Friday on ShoBox, you got Ronald Ellis returning off an injury, gonna face Junior Union. This should actually be a pretty good fight. Both of these guys returning to ShoBox, been on there multiple times. Should be a good fight. This is kind of a crossroads match. Who's gonna be the contender and who's not? On the undercard, you got the return of Devin Haney. He's gonna make his first real appearance on cable TV. Had the opportunity to meet this guy at the MGM during the Mayweather-Berto fight. Haney was floating around in the press center at the MGM. Real nice kid, real polite, very well-mannered, very well-spoken. I'm kind of excited to see him fight. I want to see what the goods are. At the MGM, he did fight on the undercard, the early cards, and you know, early on in your career like that, you're expected to go out and blast an opponent, and that's exactly what Haney did back then. So it's going to be interesting to see what Haney brings to the ring this go round. This Saturday on ESPN, Top Rank, with the big ESPN contract, continuing to build their stable and their fighters into stars. Bob Rank has propensity to make mega stars that eventually buy him out, move on, and do their own thing. Gilberto Ramirez, the top of the card, fighting Khabib Ahmed.
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, I don't know who he is neither. I don't really put a lot of weight behind this fight. I look at it as a stay busy fight for Ramirez because much of the super middleweight division, or at least the ones we really want to see fight, are unable to currently make deals with Top Rank because of the political climate. Ramirez, a very good fighter, very tough fighter, was in tough against Jesse Hart in his last fight, a very good back and forth action fight. It looked early on like Ramirez was going to steamroll Hart. Hart bounced back up off the canvas and continued to come back, landing big shots. It was a back and forth fight with great ebb and flow. Hopefully we get something like this out of Khabib Ahmed. I highly doubt it, but it would be great if we did. But I have a feeling at the end of the fight, we're going to see Ramirez tell Ahmed,
"Thank you, come again."
Yep. In the co-main event, Jerwin Ancajas from the Philippines is going to be making his first American debut. There's a lot of hype surrounding this guy that, oh, he's the next Manny Pacquiao, but every Filipino fighter that comes to the States for the first fight is the next Manny Pacquiao. And unfortunately for him, if he doesn't become the next Manny Pacquiao, it's nothing other than a letdown. So I'm not going to say he's the next Manny Pacquiao, but that's what people are saying is he's the next Manny Pacquiao. He does look good, has a lot of power, has a lot of good speed and movement, can fight well, but can brawl well. He looks to be an exciting fighter. Hopefully we get that from him. If we don't, then we'll know he's not the next Manny Pacquiao. On the untelevised undercard, Jesse Hart returns, who had that great fight with Gilberto Ramirez in their last fight, and you have the return of Jose Benavidez Jr. Benavidez Jr. was shot in the leg last year in Phoenix when he was walking his dog. Been out of the ring for quite some time. He's going to be making his first return back to the ring. We had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with the Benavidez's, Jose and his brother David, who fights for PBC and is the WBC super middleweight champion. And we filmed an episode of Under the Hand Wraps. So click the link right here and make sure you watch that. And that's all the time we're going to have for today. Make sure you follow Instant Boxing at Instant Boxing on Twitter, Instagram, and you can follow myself at the Albert Baker. So we'll see you guys next week.